Point number 3. How can we increase your consciousness? What can you do and get away with in front of the audience that doesn't look odd, that doesn't look strange? The trick is to be able to take your attention and look at a point in the space. The point can be a bottle, the point can be a mark on the floor, the point can be a telephone, the point can be any point in the room. And there's thousands of points in the room. When you begin to look, there's things coming from the ceiling, there's things on the table, there's people in the room, and you want to take your attention and focus your attention on the point. So for example, I'm looking at you right now. So I'm taking my attention and I'm focusing in on a point. Now in the IT terminology, what I'm going to say is I'm forming a VPN, virtual private network, like a tunnel between you and myself. Now that I have locked in, I'm then going to take my data. I'm going to bring it up from the private domain, which is inside of me. I'm going to bring it up to the public domain, and I'm going to send that data across the space. Only after I have established a VPN connection with that point in the room. Now, it's not quite a VPN connection for those IT technical people out there, because in a VPN world, only I and the person I'm talking to, the sender and the receiver, have this secure tunnel. But actually, everybody in the room can hear. But I like to use the word VPN. So I'm forming a VPN connection with the audience. I'm also forming in the OSI model. If you're familiar with the OSI model, Open Systems Internet Connection, I have 7 layers. There's 7 layers in the OSI model. Top layer being the application layer, bottom layer being the physical layer. You have 2 network devices. This network device wants to send information through the internet to another network device. And the layer 1 connection is a physical link, a physical layer. When you're doing public speaking, when you're up in front of an audience, you are increasing your consciousness, and as you increase your consciousness, you become aware of your physical body. And as you become aware of your physical body, it's almost like you are plugging into the floor, like a wire plugs into a light socket on the wall. And I'm plugging my eyes onto a point in the room. Now, the most powerful points in the room are the eyes of the audience. Therefore, I'm going to connect to the eyes of the audience, and I'm going to have a little bit of my CPU power connected to my feet. So a little bit of awareness of my feet, and I have connections to the audience. Only after I have formed that layer 1 connection am I then going to increase my data, bring it up to consciousness, and then send it across to space. And I only send it across to space when I have that layer 1 physical link connection to the point in the space. Now let's talk about the eye contact. Now there's different types of eye contact. Some people are uncomfortable with eye contact. My observation after doing this for 25, 30 years is that people actually enjoy eye contact. So when I look at somebody in the eyes, I'm not looking for like intimidation. Now you listen to me. It's not intimidation. It's not an intimacy. Hi, how you doing? Good to see you. It's really the eye of involving. I want to involve the audience in the conversation. And people enjoy eye contact. So rather than being something that is uncomfortable, it's actually something that is very comfortable. And I've actually had people come up to me after a presentation. I'm talking to 50, 60, 70 people, and maybe I didn't hold eye contact with one of those people during the hour presentation. I've actually had people walk up to me and say, you didn't look at me. Like they actually felt out of connection when I didn't look at them. So you want to be able to maintain eye contact with the audience, and you only talk after you have given yourself the conscious command to connect to the audience. So therefore, the data comes after you've made a conscious connection. So therefore, the data is coming from a conscious place rather than an unconscious place. And the quality of data that comes out of consciousness is greater than the quality of the data that comes from an unconscious space. You could look at the analogy of television. When I first started watching television 50 years ago, it was black and white television, and you had to walk up and you had to change the channels with your hand. Now we have television has gotten to the place where it's high definition television. When you are conscious in front of the room and you're taking your data and you're projecting it across the space, the quality of your delivery is just like a high definition television. And when the audience sees a high definition presenter and they compare it to all the other presenters they've seen, which are more analog, old television technology presenters, you will differentiate yourself. You will have a greater quality in front of the audience, which is exactly what we're looking for. Therefore, you want to be able to hold the eye contact. You only talk when you've made eye contact with somebody, and you're talking maybe for 4, 5, 6, 7 seconds. Sometimes as you get better with it, you don't even say anything to anybody. You look them in the eyes, turn to somebody else and talk to somebody else. Just looking them in the eyes forms a connection to the audience. And when you're speaking, you're not speaking in long sentences, because in 3 or 4, 5, 6, 7 seconds, you can only send a certain amount of information through the broadband pipe. Therefore, you want to be able to, I call it, chunk your data. So it's, good morning. My name is, goes to one person. The purpose of the presentation is, goes to another person. You have 3 basic points. The first point goes to one person. Second point goes to the second person. And maybe the third, fourth point goes to another person. Therefore, you're not delivering these long sentences to people. You're really just doing 4 or 5 words, 2 words, 3 words, and it makes it easier for you to deliver the data. And you're staying conscious up here. You are above the water. You are not below the water in unconsciousness. You're able to stay above the water, maintain that layer 1 connection to the audience, and have that broadband connection to the space. So that is the benefit of point of focus. And when you're doing point of focus, when you disconnect from somebody and you're going to reconnect to somebody else, you're not talking in the space. You're not saying, okay, now what I want to be able to do is... No, you are talking to one point, you are then stopping, you are plugging into another set of eyes, and you're talking to another set of eyes. You only talk after you have made a conscious connection to a set of eyes in the room. And that will keep you conscious in front of the room. Also, another benefit is, when you are just talking to one person, there might be 100 people in the room, but I'm just talking to the person who's in the 3rd row, the 2nd seat, and I'm holding eye contact with that person. Therefore, I'm not talking to a group of people. I'm just talking to one person. And 99 people are listening. One of the great corporate leaders in the United States and worldwide would be John Chambers. John Chambers is the CEO of Cisco Systems. And if you've ever watched John Chambers talk, he's up on stage in front of 5,000 people. And he starts his presentation, and then he comes off the stage, and he walks over to this group of people, and he holds eye contact with one person, and he's having an individual conversation with this person. Then he walks over to that group of people over there, and he talks to one person. He walks to another group of people, he talks to another group of people, and he walks all around the space having individual conversations, and 4,999 people are listening. So therefore, you're not talking to a group of people, you're just talking to one person at a time, which aids you and allows you to keep yourself relaxed. Hold nice and relax. That's where you want to be, nice and relaxed. So a point of focus increases your consciousness, and as you increase your consciousness, you're able to keep yourself relaxed in front of an audience. Now that completes what I wanted to say about point of focus. It is a great tool that you can get away with in front of an audience, that they won't even know when you're using a tool to stay conscious, and they'll love the eye contact. I encourage you to do it. Now let's move to the next point, point number 4.